So fellas, we already gave an initial reaction to the Witch Queen trailer that dropped yesterday, showcasing the throne world. Now my man Luke has went full Sherlock Holmes on this thing and has researched everything from the Game Awards trailer to the throne world trailer to the symbols on our armor. And with all that information that we've collected, we're going to give you our deep dive analysis of everything we know so far. The timestamps will be alchemy, environment, and story, abilities, weapons, and a small leak. Not a big one, just a mechanic that we already kind of got in the game that appeared also in the trailer yesterday. With that being said though, guys, buckle up, grab some popcorn, because we're talking alchemy. Now, in the recent Throne World trailer, you saw the alchemic references, both on our Guardian armors and in all the trailer transitions. This occurred at the 26-second mark of yesterday's trailer, at 31 seconds, and 36 seconds. Now, pull from Luke's research, based on the armor pieces that we are getting in Witch Queen, we have all this alchemic symbology present here, of which until this morning, I had no idea what the hell any of this even is. Now, each one of these armor pieces differ from one another, except the Azoth of the Philosophers. That is the star that is present there on each one of these armor pieces, and you see it there on the Hunter helmet, right there in the Titan's crotch, and down low at the bottom of the robe there of the Warlock. Now, the Azoth of the Philosophers is really the 7 steps of alchemy, 7 metals, 7 planets, each point on this star representing that, which makes sense considering Bungie's number is 7. Now, the 7 old planets are, of course, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Earth, Venus, Mercury, and the Sun. Now, don't get freaked out. I'm not saying the Sun is a planet. This is just what the old philosophers and astronomers used to think, thus the Azoth of the Philosophers. Now, breaking up each one of these pieces of armor, there's actually 3 alchemical primes present on each set. For the Hunter, it's Mercury, representing, of course, Mercury. On the Titan, it's Salt, representing Saturn, or in Destiny's case, Titan. And for the Warlock, it's Sulfur, which actually represents Mars. I know a lot of people said that it represents Venus, but that is not the case. Matter of fact, when we actually look at these 7 planetary metals, you'll see all these different elements on the periodic table that corresponds with these different planets, these different old planets. Lead corresponding with Saturn, tin with Jupiter, iron with Mars, gold with the Sun, copper with Venus, Mercury with, of course, Mercury, and silver with the Moon. Now, I know lead corresponds with Saturn, and I just said that salt represents Saturn and Titan, which I know doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense here, but pull from azothalchemy.org, there's multiple symbols for salt. Some of them are circles, some of them are squares, and of course this is present here on the Titan armor. But essentially the square symbol for salt is also shown in the first ray here of this Azoth star, and that is that bottom ray, which indicates that work begins in the unredeemed matter of an imperfect incarnation. Essentially, it could be any substance that needs to be perfected from lead to the human soul. Long story short, guys, salt there is the link there to lead, almost in the same way that Titan is a moon of Saturn. And we have a similar situation here with sulfur as well, also being tied to iron, therefore Mars. Now, if this symbolism is to be believed, we should expect Witch Queen to introduce at least elements into the campaign from Mars, Saturn, and Mercury, or Mars, Titan, and Mercury, planets that went away into the Destiny content vault. Now, we don't know to what extent we'll be on these planets. We do see in the Game Awards trailer us briefly going to Mars to access Savathun's throne world. The question is, will we return to Titan and Mercury? Which, considering what we've seen over and over again, it seems so. Now, some people have asked, will Venus become a destination we'll see in the Witch Queen? And a lot of people associated the sulfur gas to Venus, but thematically it doesn't line up, as the alchemic parallel to Venus is copper, which isn't present in any of the trailers so far. Of course, we have a lot of time from now until Witch Queen. Now, this all kind of ties back to the Throne World trailer from yesterday, that XE 4F14 5D6 6S2. Fellas, I'm not a chemist, but we know this refers to osmium. And we've seen this periodic sequence over and over again in the trailer, and it actually refers to the osmium court, the osmium king, the father to Oryx, Savathun, and Xivu, before they were Oryx, Savathun, and Xivu. Now, to me, this makes a lot of sense. The more and more we understand Savathun, the more I start to think that she holds a grudge, the biggest grudge among all her sisters, towards the event that led to the Osmium Court's downfall. Now, stated here from Destinypedia, Osmium Court was ruled by a king who sired many broods of children, notably Arash, Sedona, and Zero. Tau, which I'm probably killing that name, a neuter mother, designed great engines to navigate the treacherous seas of Fundament. When they were active, everyone needed to stay far away from the edge or exercise extreme extreme caution. It possessed a lightning farm, presumably to generate power for the engines, and an orrery to study the movements of Fundament's 52 moons. Now, the Osmian court was actually betrayed by Tau, who feared both that our king was abandoning his people and that his daughters were unfit to govern. By the way, Book of Sorrows is fantastic. I know Mylan, Bife, they've got breakdowns of this, but this essentially is what led the daughters to go deeper into Fundament, to then find a worm god or worm gods to empower them, and that's what actually led to their transformations and rise. Long story short though, at least from what I have observed, out of all of the children, to me, Savathun was the one that seemed to be the most emotionally affected by the downfall of the Osmium court. Now this actually takes us to the next section of this video, guys: environment and story. Now this is actually going to be pulled from the trailer, just little information and tidbits that I thought that was pretty cool. At 18 seconds of yesterday's trailer, we get to see a jumping puzzle. Kind of reminds you a little bit of Pit of Heresy, right? Now 29 seconds. We had a lot of questions about this room, right? Is this room Warmind related? Or is it in fact related to the pyramid ships? The more we look at it, the more we think it's actually related more to the pyramid ships. You see the glaive-like lanterns on top. And then we also have that scene in the trailer where the Guardians are escorting a pyramid floating through the swamps. What we actually think this is going to be tied to is weapon crafting. I don't want to get off into like speculation land here, but considering that the darkness is all about taking, we may even use darkness powers here to take perks from our old weapons. And when looking at these images side by side between what we've seen from the weapon crafting table, you can see the similar designs here between the darkness and the pyramid ships, the little cubes that are present in the room, all that good stuff, man. It could literally be the darkness that corrects RNG in our game, right? Now skip it to the scene where our hunter is essentially playing dead when inside Savathun's runes. This is actually the same room we saw in the Game Awards trailer, where Savathun actually lures in Guardians and takes their light. And you can see there at 2 minutes and 13 seconds of that trailer. Now the questions surrounding Savathun separating into 3 separate versions of herself, could this ability actually be similar to the Echoes of Oryx from the Taken King? Now the giant orange room is actually on Savathun's ship on Mars, and that giant circle can be seen from both the outside and the inside. This was actually one that blew my mind a little bit. In the trailer from yesterday at 57 seconds, you see this image here of this giant lit up room with that giant circle there at the end. And then at the Game Awards trailer at 26 seconds, you see a similar design, right? Like just looking up at this area. I know we've seen this a lot before. That same thing was like present on the Dreadnought. I could have sworn we've seen it in the Dark Below. But at 1 minute and 12 seconds of this trailer, we see that same orange lit up room with our Guardians running away, right? And again, the background here, you could see that same circle design. Now I don't really know what it is, but it's just environmental things I just wanted to point out. Now a scene that we've seen a couple times already is actually Savathun ascending. In the trailer from yesterday at 54 seconds, you see Savathun actually rising and ascending. The same thing was presented to us in the Game Award trailer that appeared to have a similar animation to that ascension. So is Savathun going to steal our light here and then peace out? Maybe. What if we have to chase after Savathun without our light? And when you die, you die in real life. Now there was a question of why the hell were there Scorn present in the Throne Roll trailer yesterday? And we see this at 1 minute and 6 seconds here where we're fighting to take control of this bridge and we've got Scorn meeting us. Now I have no idea what the hell is going on with the Scorn. I know the Tangled Shore is getting vaulted, but we still have the Dreaming City. Are the Scorn going to be aligned with Savathun? Or are they going to be kind of like the Flood now, right? Where they just mindlessly attack anything and everything. Now moving on to abilities. Now some of this was actually showcased in the trailer, both from the Game Awards and the trailer from yesterday. Now these are going to be pulled from the TWAB, the Void 3.0 TWAB, listing out some of the aspects that we are getting with Void 3.0 and Witch Queen. First up, the Warlock, the Pocket Singularity Melee. This is actually a tracking ball of void energy that can be sent over a long distance. It'll push enemies back and give them a volatile debuff. We saw that in the Game Awards trailer. It looks potent, and the debuff being able to be applied from a tracking melee is pretty nice. Now the Child of Old Gods aspect. Now similar to Arc Souls, this launches itself at enemies, then begins siphoning their energy and weakening them, refunding their life force back to you as either grenade and melee energy, as well as our healing rift or health empowering rift. Again, another thing we saw in the Game Award trailer, you can see it there surrounding the Warlock. It's really cool that Bungie's making these jumps, right? Arc Soul, essentially Void Soul now. Are you getting hyped for Void 3.0, man? Now our Titan, Overwatch. This is an aspect. Now this this is a void-empowered barricade that gives a void overshield to your allies and yourself. Now, the void shield regenerates when standing behind the barricade, and we saw this yesterday in the trailer at 40 seconds. Really cool animation here, but essentially it cancels out the super that's being thrown at him with that Sentinel shield slam. What's so beautiful about this is that this is just tied to your aspect. Now, the shield toss. This is a melee, acts like a Sentinel Titan super, throwable void shield, which ricochets off of enemies and surfaces. Beautiful thing about this, it grants an overshield on successful hits. Now, the reason why this is so cool is that this is just a melee, guys. This is not part of the super. You see the Sentinel shield bouncing around here, disintegrating enemies, and this simultaneously is granting overshield to the user. And from what we're seeing, this is granting overshield on successful hits, not necessarily kills. Now, the Hunter, this is the one we have not seen yet, and I'm assuming the next trailer we're going to get, we're going to be able to see both the super and the aspect here. But essentially, Mobius Quiver will fire 2 volleys of 3 void arrows in a cone, and we're assuming it's going to be like Shatter that's present on Nova Bomb back inside of Destiny 1. It'll seek out enemies and create void anchors on impact, and enemies caught in the tether are weakened and volatile. Now, the Stylish Executioner, this is actually the aspect for the Hunter. Defeating weakened, suppressed, or volatile enemies grants invisibility as well as true sight. Melees, while invisible, weaken targets. Now, we've seen this kind of in a way with Spectral Blades, but again, defeating weakened, suppressed, or volatile enemies. That's a beautiful thing there. You can run around with Tractor Cannon, killing enemies, and going invis. And there's other weapons that also suppress. Two-Tail Fox. I think the grenades that are going to become super meta in Witch Queen is actually going to be suppressor grenades for a lot of reasons. We're literally facing Hive Guardians that can pop a Superman. Now you can suppress them out of their super. And when you kill them, if you're on a Hunter rocking Stylish Executioner, you'll gain true sight and invisibility. Nasty. Now moving on to weapons. We saw yesterday the Striga exotic SMG. Now, this was actually seen in both the Game Award trailer and the Throne World trailer. Now, Striga actually stands for Bone Monster, and we're speculating it actually has a corruption perk similar to that of Thorn and like Necrotic Grips, as we see like those green pulses leaving enemies after death. Now, to me, guys, it's not exactly like Thorn, but it is similar. The rounds are black and green and leaves those streaks of corruption, which maybe the coloring's off here. So yes, it could definitely still be corruption related, and we are still speculating next year we will be getting those corruption based subclasses. Regardless though, Osteo might synergize with things like Necrotic Grips. Now, the monster or witch that Striga refers to can also be depicted as an undead female who transforms into a flying owl similar to Savathun. Again, connecting back to that ascension of Savathun. Now, other weapons include the glaive. Now, we see the glaive at multiple parts here, right? Yesterday on the back of our Guardian, sucker is huge. We also saw in the Game Awards trailer in action, but at 46 seconds, we see a piece of our glaive that we're obtaining. Now, this is obviously going to be connected in some way to either the campaign or maybe it's a separate quest there with Witch Queen. And we know that the glaive is going to require us to assemble multiple pieces to fully assemble it. Now, other new Throne World weapons, as seen from the Throne World trailer, includes a rocket launcher and pulse rifle that we saw yesterday at 3 seconds and at the minute and 2 second mark. We also saw what appears to be an auto rifle and fusion rifle, a hand cannon, a scout rifle and SMG shown at the 1 minute mark yesterday of the Throne World trailer. And I'm sure with more trailers dropping on us, we'll see even more weapons shown. Now, as far as the leaks go, it's being speculated that we're actually going to have something called Deep Sight. And this operates similar to that of tinctures in the Dreaming City, which allows us to discover puzzles and secrets. And you saw that there yesterday in the trailer where I made the joke about the Titan thinking, but that's that deep sight, right? It's revealing something. He's thinking, baby. He's cooking up something. Everybody look out. But considering like Savathun is all about deception, dude, I feel like her Throne World is going to be riddled with booby traps and all kinds of goodies that are hidden. And we saw that even from the Dreadnought, right? So guys, that is our deep dive analysis of everything we know so far. Are we returning to destinations like Mars, Mercury, and Titan? I'm assuming we are in some way, maybe only within the campaign. And we've talked about this before in the past of Bungie amping up some of these old destinations. And listen, guys, I've got high hopes for it. Can you imagine if Titan was like this super stormy, chaotic atmosphere where every like 5 to 10 minutes, the entire rig goes underwater? I know it's like a methane ocean, but you know where I'm coming from, right? Where the whole rig just gets overtaken by these ginormous typhoon waves. I know you think that might not be possible, but that's essentially what was started there from Europa. Those blizzards, all of those things are Bungie's way of testing testing future destinations and old destinations to give us that next level immersion. Hopefully, if we are returning to those destinations though, we will receive that. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.